The sea is eternal. Its voice rises and falls with the rhythm of time, endless and unbroken. Every wave carries a secret. Every tide holds the memory of a forgotten age. Close your eyes and listen. The ocean speaks not in words, but in whispers of the deep. There is no end to its horizon, only an invitation, soft and unyielding, calling hearts to wander. They say Poseidon rests here, not in temples of stone, but in the living breath of the abyss. The sea is his domain, vast, silent, and yet filled with stories that drift like unseen currents. Some hear a song at night, a melody woven with starlight, fragile as dreams. Others see islands appear, shaped not of earth, but of memory and longing. The abyss is not darkness. It is depth, it is wonder, it is the mirror of eternity. To journey here is to surrender, not to fear, but to awe, to the boundless embrace of water. Tonight, we enter that place, the eternal sea where time dissolves and myths awaken. This is the beginning. This is the story of the abyss, the eternal sea of Poseidon. The ocean begins with silence. Yet within that silence, there is movement, a breath older than time itself. Waves touch the shore like fingertips. They rise, fall, and vanish, but their song remains in the air. Every whisper of the tide carries a story. Some are from the present, many are from centuries past. The sea remembers everything. It holds the weight of voices that no longer walk this earth. If you lean close enough, you might hear them. Soft echoes between the crash of waves and the pull of water. The abyss does not reveal itself at once. It begins with a murmur, a subtle call that stirs curiosity. Travelers feel it before they see it. A gentle pull, like gravity, drawing them toward the horizon. No storm breaks the surface. No violence shakes the deep. Instead, there is calm, steady and eternal. The ocean's voice is not human, yet it speaks with clarity. Its rhythm enters the heart like a steady drum. Every current is a sentence. Every ripple is a word. Together, they weave an endless narrative. This is the whisper of the tides, a language older than the gods, older than stone, older than flame. At night, the sea glimmers with secrets. Starlight falls upon its surface, and the water responds with glow. Some call it reflection, others call it memory. To the abyss, it is simply the truth revealed. The tides whisper to those who listen. They whisper of cities lost, resting beneath layers of silence. They whisper of ships that once crossed, their sails filled with hope, their journeys swallowed by time. They whisper of voices that prayed to Poseidon, not for power, but for safe passage across eternity. The sea answers not with words of promise. Instead, it answers with presence, vast and unending. To hear the tides is to know humility, to understand that nothing is truly lost in the abyss. Even a fleeting breath becomes part of the whole. Even a forgotten song lingers beneath the waves. When you stand upon the shore, you feel small, yet the whispers remind you that you belong. The abyss is not exile, it is communion. It gathers fragments and gives them a place to remain. Every traveler who approaches carries questions. The sea does not reply directly, but it guides. A whisper might sound like wind, or like memory, or like the echo of your own hidden thoughts. The truth is that the abyss reflects the listener. It whispers what the heart is ready to hear. One voyager stood on the edge of the cliffs. He closed his eyes, and the sea began to speak. Not with thunder, not with force, but with a melody that was gentle and yet impossible to ignore. He heard the sound of footsteps behind him. He turned, but there was no one, only the tide. The sea whispered again, this time softer, as if it did not want to be rushed or misunderstood. The voyager leaned closer, his heart steady. He knew he was standing at the threshold of something vast. The whispers grew clearer. They spoke not of fear, but of journeys, of discovery, of patience. It was not a warning. It was an invitation, spoken with waves that touched his very soul. He realized the tides were not trying to control him. They were waiting, timeless and patient. The abyss does not command. It beckons. It trusts that those who are ready will step forward. The voyager opened his eyes. The horizon stretched without end, and the whisper still lingered. In that moment, he understood the first lesson of the abyss. The sea does not speak to the ears. It speaks to the spirit, and once heard, it is never forgotten. The whisper of the tides is eternal. It belongs not only to sailors, not only to gods. It belongs to anyone who dares to listen, to anyone willing to step close to the edge of the deep. For in every tide, there is a secret, and in every whisper, there is the voice of eternity. The call of the deep is not thunder. It does not roar. It drifts softly, carried by wind and water alike. It begins like a thought, a feeling that something waits beyond the horizon, unseen but impossible to ignore. A voyager wakes in the night. He hears nothing but silence, yet his heart beats as if summoned. He steps outside his cabin. The stars shine above, and the sea stretches wide, calm and infinite. There is no sound but the gentle pull of water against wood. Still, he feels the call growing stronger. It is not a voice, yet it speaks. Not a sound, yet it lingers within the marrow of his bones. The deep does not command. It invites. It whispers of places unseen, of mysteries beyond mortal reach. The voyager breathes slowly. His hands grip the railing, and his eyes search the dark horizon. He does not see Poseidon. He does not see gods or creatures. He feels presence, vast and unshaken. The sea waits, patient. Its call is eternal, reaching not for ears, but for the quiet places of the soul. Some resist the call. They turn away, content with the shore. But others feel it is destiny. To them, the ocean is not distance. It is a promise, shimmering with possibilities yet untold. The voyager recalls childhood, standing by rivers, staring at streams, always wondering where the waters lead. Now grown, he feels the same wonder. The call of the deep is the same call as then. It is a reminder that life itself is movement. To remain still is to forget what it means to breathe. The sea does not tempt with treasure. It tempts with depth, with endless discovery, with the unknown itself. Each tide is a signal. Each current is a path. The voyager senses direction without compass or map. He whispers to himself, though no one listens. The sea calls me, and I must answer. The call grows louder, though not in sound. It grows in certainty, as if woven into his very heartbeat. At dawn, the horizon glows. The ocean mirrors the sky, and the invitation feels almost visible. Other sailors notice nothing unusual. They hear no call, see no sign. Only he feels the weight of it. The abyss is selective. It does not summon all. It speaks to those who are ready to listen. The voyager wonders why he was chosen. Yet the sea offers no reason, only patience and presence. He realizes the answer is not important. What matters is whether he chooses to follow or remain. The call is gentle, but it is relentless. It does not fade with time. It grows with silence. He thinks of leaving behind the familiar, the shore, the safety, the voices of home. The abyss does not erase them. It carries them forward, turning memories into companions for the journey. The call of the deep is a reminder that all beginnings require departure. No one arrives without leaving. He closes his eyes once more. The sea breathes, and within that breath, he hears eternity. The call is not sound. It is resonance. It vibrates through spirit, urging him toward the endless tide. He understands now. The sea is not asking. It is waiting. The choice belongs to him alone. To ignore is to remain unchanged. To accept is to step into mystery, into the heart of Poseidon's realm. The voyager opens his eyes. The horizon glimmers with dawn, and the call still lingers, soft but eternal. He smiles faintly. For the first time, he is not afraid. He is ready. The call of the deep has become part of him. And once felt, it can never be silenced. The horizon is endless. It stretches far beyond the reach of sight, a line where sea and sky dissolve together. The voyager gazes forward. His eyes strain against the distance, but the horizon remains forever just out of reach. Every step toward it is a promise unkept. The closer he sails, the farther it appears, untouchable and eternal. The horizon is not a wall. It is a mirror. It reflects longing, hope, and the desire to move forward. At dawn, it glows with gold. At dusk, it bleeds into violet and silver. At night, it becomes pure shadow. The voyager learns that the horizon changes, yet it is always the same. It is constancy wrapped in disguise. He feels the weight of time vanish. Hours stretch into moments, and moments stretch into eternity upon the sea. The ocean offers no landmarks, only water below and sky above, and the line that refuses to end. Yet within this endlessness lies wonder. The voyager feels as though he is drifting within infinity itself. The horizon teaches patience. It cannot be reached, but it can be followed, guiding every step upon the journey. Some fear the endless horizon. They see emptiness. But the voyager sees possibility, a canvas waiting for discovery. Each wave carries him closer. Each breath of wind urges him onward. The horizon waits, both silent and alive. He thinks of all who sailed before him. They too must have chased this line across the abyss. Their eyes once fixed upon the same vanishing point, driven by the same yearning to see what lay beyond. The voyager whispers to himself, perhaps the horizon is not a destination, but a companion. The horizon listens. It does not speak, but it answers through light, through movement, through its eternal distance. As night falls, stars scatter across the sky. The horizon vanishes, yet its presence lingers in the dark. The abyss beneath and the cosmos above become one. The voyager floats between two infinities, humbled and awed. The endless horizon becomes a lesson. It shows that pursuit matters more than arrival. It reveals that longing itself is sacred, that yearning shapes the spirit more than achievement ever could. The sea is vast, but the horizon is vaster still. It holds every dream within its unreachable edge. The voyager understands now. He was never meant to catch it. He was meant to follow, to learn, to grow. The horizon is a guide, not a goal. It directs without commanding, leads without chains, inspires without force. He closes his eyes and feels its pull. The abyss hums, the stars breathe, and the sea whispers softly. He sees images within the horizon, shapes of lands unknown, faces of people he has not met. Are they real? Or are they memories waiting to be discovered? The horizon gives no answer, yet that silence is the answer itself. Mystery fuels the journey more than certainty ever could. The voyager realizes that the endless horizon is part of him now. It is not distance, but reflection. Every hope he carries lives there. Every question he cannot answer stretches across that line of light. He feels peace in not knowing. He feels strength in the pursuit. He feels wonder in the endlessness. The horizon glimmers once more at dawn. The abyss breathes with him, steady and calm. The voyager smiles. The horizon will never end, but neither will the call that guides him onward. The endless horizon is eternal. It belongs not to the sea nor the sky, but to every heart that dares to seek. Beneath the calm surface, the sea holds hidden rivers. They twist and turn in silence, shaping paths unseen by mortal eyes. These are the hidden currents, invisible yet powerful, guiding the voyager as if destiny itself flows beneath the waves. The voyager leans over the edge of his vessel. The water appears still, yet he feels movement pulling him onward. No compass marks their course, no chart records their journey. The currents belong to the abyss alone. They whisper of direction without words. They guide without command. They carry without force, only persistence. The voyager closes his eyes. He feels the vessel drift, not by wind, but by unseen hands of water. It is not chance. It is not chaos. The currents move with purpose, woven into the fabric of the sea. Some say the hidden currents are Poseidon's breath. Others say they are memory, the living flow of time itself. Whatever their truth, they are eternal. They move in silence, steady as the heartbeat of the abyss. The voyager learns to trust them. He understands that not all journeys are chosen, some are received. The currents are teachers. They show that surrender is not weakness, but alignment with the greater flow. When he resists, the vessel strains. When he accepts, the voyage becomes effortless, carried as if by grace. The sea reveals its lesson. True strength lies not in control, but in harmony with what cannot be seen. The hidden currents hold stories too. They carry fragments of coral, whispers of lost harbors, echoes of old voyages. Perhaps they even carry dreams, weaving them into the endless depths, leaving traces for others to find. At night, the voyager dreams of rivers flowing beneath him. They glow faintly, like threads of silver in the dark. He follows them deeper, always deeper, as if the abyss itself were inviting him into its secret heart. The hidden currents blur time. Hours vanish, days fold into one another. The voyage becomes both endless and immediate. The voyager no longer asks where he's going. He only listens, trusting the invisible hands beneath the waves. The abyss teaches patience. The currents cannot be rushed. They carry all in due time, with quiet certainty. Each pull is gentle, yet unyielding. Each shift reminds him that destiny is not loud, but persistent. The hidden currents are not seen, but they are felt. Like intuition, like memory, like the quiet voice within. The voyager understands now that life mirrors the sea. We drift by unseen forces, guided by currents unknown. What seems like chance is often purpose. What feels like loss may simply be redirection beneath the surface. The hidden currents become a companion. Their silence is comforting, their pull a reminder of the eternal flow. One evening, the stars shimmer above, and he feels the ship turning, not by choice, but by design. He does not resist. He lets the abyss guide him, knowing that its wisdom surpasses his own. The vessel glides smoothly, carried as though by destiny itself, woven into the great tapestry of water. The voyager whispers, "I surrender," and the currents answer with motion, steady, unwavering, timeless. He feels at peace. He feels at home, carried into mystery by forces both unseen and eternal. The hidden currents are Poseidon's gift. Not command, not demand, but guidance in silence, a path through infinity. The voyager smiles beneath the stars. For he knows now, to follow the hidden currents is to follow eternity. And eternity, like the sea, flows forever. The sea holds more than water. It holds memories carved into its floor, remnants of worlds swallowed by time. The voyager feels the pull of depth, not fear but wonder, as the abyss reveals fragments of forgotten kingdoms. Beneath the surface lie ruins. Towers of coral rise from broken stone. Arches stretch upward, half devoured by the sea. Each ruin whispers a story, not of destruction, but of transformation, as the ocean reclaims what was once proud. The voyager drifts above shattered marble. Statues gaze upward, their faces softened by centuries of salt and silence. There are streets here, hidden beneath sand. Pathways once filled with voices now echo only with currents and shadows. The abyss preserves without cruelty. It does not erase, it enfolds. Memory becomes reef. Ruin becomes sanctuary for life. Fish weave through ancient doorways. Shells cling to columns once carved by human hands. The past becomes the present's shelter. The voyager senses a strange harmony. Even in loss, the sea reshapes, turning endings into beginnings without resistance. Perhaps this is Poseidon's lesson, that nothing is truly gone. It only changes form, flowing back into the eternal tide. He imagines the lives once lived here. Children running through markets, fires warming halls, songs rising in celebration. All of it silent now, yet not gone. The ocean carries memory, hidden but alive, beneath layers of shifting sand. The voyager feels reverence. He does not mourn the ruins. He honors them, for they still breathe through the sea. The column leans, half buried, covered in coral. It is not broken. It is transformed, bearing new life in silence. A great mosaic lies on the floor, shimmering with shells and stone. Patterns remain, though time has softened their glow. The abyss is a keeper of stories. Each ruin is not an end, but a chapter folded into the sea. The voyager wonders if one day his own world will rest here, embraced by currents, softened into quiet beauty. The thought does not frighten him. It comforts him, for he sees that eternity is not destruction, but transformation. Night falls above, but below, the ruins glow. Creatures with luminous bodies trace paths through forgotten halls. The voyager watches in awe. The ruins live not in silence, but in light, in movement, in endless continuation. He whispers softly, "A vow to remember." For the abyss remembers all, and now so does he, carrying the stories onward. The ruins fade behind as the current pulls him deeper. Yet their lesson stays, carved into his soul like stone. Every ending is a doorway. Every ruin is a seed. The sea teaches, and the voyager learns in silence. Poseidon's sea is eternal not because it resists time, but because it transforms with it, flowing without end. The voyager gazes once more at the abyss. He no longer sees ruins. He sees life reborn through memory. The journey continues, but the ruins remain within him. A reminder that all things change, yet nothing is lost. He breathes deeply. The salt fills his chest. The sea has spoken, and he carries its truth into the night. The abyss is not emptiness. It is fullness, woven from memory, transformation, and the eternal grace of Poseidon. And so he sails on, guided not only by currents, but by stories carved into the deep, timeless and eternal. The voyager sails deeper, and the sea begins to glow, not with sunlight, but with a light born of its own heart. It begins faintly, soft trails of blue beneath the surface, like veins of fire hidden in the skin of the ocean. Soon the glow strengthens, Shapes emerge, creatures with bodies like lanterns drifting through the silent abyss. Their light is not harsh, it is gentle, pulsing in rhythms, as though the sea itself were breathing in color. The voyager leans closer, enchanted. Tiny fish shimmer like sparks. Larger forms move slowly, casting halos around them. The abyss is alive with radiance. Each glow is a voice, silent yet speaking, filling the water with quiet wonder. The light bends and weaves. It does not scatter like fire, but gathers, curling like threads in a great tapestry. The voyager realizes he is surrounded by constellations, not in the sky, but beneath the waves, stars born of the deep. He feels small, yet not alone. The glowing sea embraces him, reminding him that mystery can also be kindness. Some creatures flash briefly, like whispers. Others glow steady, like eternal beacons. Each plays a part in the dance. The voyager thinks of home, the night sky above land, the fireflies in summer, the lanterns of distant villages. Now he sees their reflection here, in the abyss. Light is not bound to the heavens. It flows everywhere. Perhaps Poseidon does not dwell in thunder, but in this glow. Gentle, infinite, the gift of beauty and silence. The voyager lets his hand touch the water. The glow gathers near, swirling around his fingers like living starlight. He laughs softly, the sound swallowed by the sea, yet answered by a shimmer that feels like recognition. The creatures do not flee. They welcome him, as if the abyss itself has claimed him as part of its story. He feels no fear of darkness now, for he sees the truth. Even in the deepest night, light is never gone. The voyager closes his eyes, and the glow lingers in his vision, like dreams carved from water and fire. The abyss is not empty shadow. It is balance, darkness woven with light, creating a beauty no surface could hold. As he drifts, the glow grows brighter. Shapes form around him, swirling like a slow current of luminous rivers. The light guides without command. It draws him onward, deeper, showing paths unseen, like a map written in radiance. He follows, not questioning. For he knows this sea does not lead astray. It only reveals what is meant to be. The voyager breathes deeply. Salt fills his lungs, but his soul is filled with the glowing silence of eternity. The abyss whispers with light, not in words, but in patterns, rhythms, a song too vast for human speech. Perhaps it is Poseidon's hymn, not thunder, not storm, but light, woven through the depths of the eternal sea. The voyager smiles, carried deeper by currents, his path illuminated not by fire, but by living stars. He learns the lesson of the glow, that even in silence, beauty endures, shining quietly, without need for witness. The abyss holds its lanterns without pride. They shine because that is their nature, endless and unyielding. The voyager feels peace, a peace deeper than the calmest shore. For here he knows he belongs. The sea glows around him, radiant and eternal, and he whispers a truth to himself. The abyss is alive. And in its glow, he too becomes a light, a small flame carried forward in Poseidon's eternal sea. The voyager sails deeper, and the sea grows vast in silence. The glowing currents fade, replaced by endless stillness. Here the water feels ancient. It presses gently, not with weight, but with presence, a reminder of eternity's watch. The abyss does not roar. It whispers, low and steady like the heartbeat of the earth carried through dark water. The voyager closes his eyes. He hears nothing. Yet, in the silence, he feels surrounded by voices older than time. Every drop holds memory. Every current is a thread in a web too large for the mind to grasp. The sea is not just water. It is story, prayer, and echo. It remembers long after the world forgets. The voyager thinks of his own life, fleeting as a spark. Compared to the abyss, he is but a breath. Yet the abyss does not diminish him. It welcomes him, as though his spark belongs in its endless night. He listens. The silence becomes music, not melody but rhythm, the slow pulse of creation itself. It feels as though Poseidon himself moves within the water, not as a god of rage, but of patience. The voyager realizes that silence is not emptiness. It is fullness beyond words, holding all that has ever been. He drifts without resistance. His vessel is a leaf upon an ocean of memory, carried by invisible hands. Time loosens here. Minutes blur into hours. Days dissolve into the endless hush of the eternal abyss. The voyager wonders if he dreams. Yet even dreams have edges, while this silence has no boundary. He breathes slowly, each inhale echoing within him, each exhale blending into the vast, unseen expanse. In the stillness, visions form. He sees shadows of whales long gone, their songs woven into the abyss. He sees ships sinking, not in despair, but in surrender, becoming part of the ocean's hidden cathedral. He sees stars reflected in black water, as if the sea and sky were one endless mirror of eternity. The voyager feels no fear, only awe. For here he touches the truth that nothing is ever truly lost. The abyss gathers all things. It does not judge or destroy. It keeps them, folds them into its eternal silence. Even his thoughts feel small here, dissolving into the greater current, like foam fading on a shore unseen. The voyager whispers softly, but his voice vanishes, swallowed by the abyss, carried into the endless night. He wonders if Poseidon hears him, not in words, but in the silence between them, where truth truly lives. The abyss responds not with sound, but with stillness deeper than stone, a calm vast beyond all measure. It is a temple without walls, a sanctuary without end, where all things return and all things remain. The voyager feels tears upon his cheek, though he does not know why. Perhaps it is gratitude. He realizes that silence is a gift, not absence, but presence, holding him in a cradle of eternal calm. The abyss teaches him to be still is to listen. To listen is to understand. To understand is to belong. The sea carries him onward, yet he feels unmoving, as if time itself bows before the abyss. When he opens his eyes, the silence has not lifted. It has entered him, shaping him into part of itself. The voyager smiles faintly, for he knows now that the abyss is not darkness, but eternity in quiet form. And in that eternity, he finds peace, deeper than the tides, softer than dreams, unbroken as the sea. The voyager drifts further into the abyss, where silence deepens and shadows grow rich with unseen secrets. Then slowly, he hears it, a sound faint and low, like a hum carried by the bones of the sea. It is not the crash of waves or the call of whales. It is older, deeper, vast as the ocean's breath. The song of the abyss rises, not a single voice, but many, woven together like threads of water and time. The voyager stills his heart. He listens as the ocean itself begins to sing with tones beyond human measure. The song carries weight, yet it soothes. It feels like memory, echoing across centuries, folding the past into the now. He senses whales long gone, their voices lingering like lanterns in the dark, glowing in sound instead of light. He hears the murmur of lost cities, their stones still humming with life, their echoes alive beneath the tide. The abyss does not forget. It sings with what it keeps, a chorus built from all that has ever entered its depths. The voyager feels his chest vibrate. The song is not outside him, but within him, pulsing like a hidden heartbeat. Each note is endless. Each tone folds into another, forming waves of sound that stretch beyond the mind's horizon. The song is not sorrow. It is not joy. It is something vaster, carrying the balance of all things in harmony. The voyager closes his eyes. He sees colors with the sound, blue, silver, and green, flowing like rivers of memory. The song deepens. It becomes a tide. It carries him without moving, sweeping him into eternity's current. Perhaps this is Poseidon's true voice. Not thunder or storm, but music woven into silence, eternal as the sea itself. The voyager does not resist. He lets the song fill him, dissolve him, shape him into part of its endless hymn. He realizes the abyss is not just water or silence. It is a choir, alive with voices that never fade. Every creature, every ruin, every tide sings. Together they form the eternal hymn, carried by the sea forever. The voyager feels tears again. They do not fall, but they blend with salt, becoming part of the ocean's song. The melody swells, then softens, like waves cresting before returning to shore. Patient and infinite. He feels as though the sea has given him a gift. Not knowledge, but belonging, as if he were always meant here. He whispers a single word, "Thank you," though he knows words are small before a song older than the stars. The abyss answers not in language, but in resonance, carrying his whisper deeper into the hymn of eternity. The voyager wonders if all who enter hear it, or if the song changes, unique to each soul that listens. Perhaps it is both, universal yet intimate, vast yet personal, the sea singing to all, and to each at once. The hymn lingers, then begins to fade, not gone, but quieter, folding back into the deep like a dream. The silence returns, but it is no longer empty. It hums quietly, carrying the afterglow of the song's embrace. The voyager breathes, his heart steady, his soul filled with music that will never leave, etched into his being. He realizes the sea has not just shown him beauty. It has invited him to carry its song forward. The abyss is eternal, and so is its music. For once heard, it never dies. It becomes part of the voyager too. And as he sails deeper, he hums softly, his voice joining the hymn, small but eternal, carried by the sea. The voyager sails deeper, guided by the faint glow of the abyss that pulses like veins of living light. The sea grows quiet again, yet it is not silence, but anticipation, as though holding its breath for what comes next. He senses a shift in the water, a soft current drawing him onward, subtle but insistent, impossible to resist. The abyss is shaping his journey, weaving his path through mysteries hidden from eyes that seek only the surface. He follows without fear, trusting the ocean's pull, as though Poseidon himself has taken the wheel of his vessel. The darkness blooms into color. Trails of blue fire shimmer, rising like smoke. Yet they are schools of glowing fish. Their bodies flicker with patterns, not random, but rhythmic, almost as if the sea itself is speaking through them. The voyager leans closer. The fish form circles, then spirals, symbols traced with light in the endless water. Each shape lingers before breaking apart, dissolving back into the flow, yet their meaning whispers into his mind. They are maps, not of distance, but of truth, guiding him through layers of understanding instead of seas and stars. He realizes the abyss teaches not with words, but with visions alive in light, fleeting yet eternal in memory. The fish scatter, and from their glow rises a faint outline, an arch carved of coral, swaying gently in the deep. The voyager steers toward it, though no current compels him now. The sight alone holds him, drawing his heart closer. The arch stands not as ruin, but as gate. Its form is alive, breathing softly with tendrils of light and water. He passes beneath it, and for a moment feels a pressure, as though the sea is testing him, weighing his spirit. Then it releases, and light bursts around him, vast and sudden, as if a hidden world has opened before his eyes. The abyss reveals gardens of coral, glowing forests rising tall, their branches heavy with colors unknown to land. Creatures drift like dreams, some small as dust, some vast as mountains, yet all move with grace beyond measure. It is not chaos, but harmony, a realm where everything belongs, where nothing exists apart from the whole. The voyager feels humbled, as though he has stepped into Poseidon's true temple, not built by man, but by eternity. He whispers no prayer, for none is needed. His awe is his offering, his silence his hymn to the sea. The waters grow warmer, softer, as though embracing him, welcoming him into a sanctum hidden from mortal sight. In the distance, he sees pillars rising from the floor, not of stone, but of crystal, shimmering with liquid fire. They hum faintly, resonating with the same song he once heard, carrying the memory of the abyss in sound and light. The voyager drifts closer, his vessel moving without effort, carried as though by the breath of the ocean itself. As he nears the pillars, he feels knowledge stirring inside him, not given, but awakened, as though always within. The sea is not only water, it is memory. It is life woven together, held in patterns beyond human measure. The voyager closes his eyes. He feels the truth settle into him, heavy and gentle, like a tide folding onto sand. He sees visions, not his own, but of countless souls who touch the abyss before him, each leaving whispers behind. They are explorers, dreamers, wanderers of time. Their voices are not lost. They flow here, eternal in the current. He realizes he is not the first, nor the last. The abyss welcomes all who listen, all who surrender to wonder. When he opens his eyes, the pillars fade softly into the water, leaving only their song within his heart. The voyager breathes deeply, his spirit lighter, knowing he has crossed another threshold in Poseidon's eternal sea. The voyager drifts beyond the coral gates, his vessel now moving as if weightless upon a current unseen and unending. The water around him shimmers faintly, as though the sea itself has become glass reflecting dreams instead of light. Every ripple feels deliberate, every movement a sign, as if Poseidon is weaving meaning through the fabric of water. The silence is deep, but not empty. It is filled with a presence, vast and near, a heartbeat beneath the ocean's skin. The voyager breathes, steady and slow, feeling as though each breath is shared with the abyss, borrowed from eternity. Then, in the distance, he sees it. A circle of stones resting upon the ocean floor, radiant with silver light. They are not ruins, but alive, glowing softly, etched with runes that shift and change like waves of liquid fire. The voyager's vessel halts, though no anchor falls. The sea itself holds him, bidding him to look, to listen, to learn. The circle hums with sound, not melody, not words, but resonance, vibrating through bone and memory alike. He feels it in his chest, his blood, his very spirit, as if the stones are tuning him to the rhythm of the abyss. Visions stir once more. He sees a crown of coral, carried by currents across centuries, untouched by time's hand. He sees a trident, not of metal, but of light, rising from the sea as a beacon to all who would listen. He sees Poseidon, not as a god of wrath, but as a guardian, a keeper of balance, the voice of the eternal tide. The voyager understands. This is no myth carved by men, but truth flowing in the sea, ancient and unbroken. The stones glow brighter, and he hears the sea's question. not spoken, but pressed gently into his soul. Why have you come? He does not answer with words. He lets his heart speak in silence, to seek wonder, to know, to belong to the vast. The stones respond with warmth, their light rising, encircling him as if embracing his spirit within their glow. He feels no judgment, only acknowledgement, as though the sea itself has recognized him as part of its story. The circle fades softly, its radiance settling into the abyss, leaving him lighter, yet filled with something eternal. The voyager knows the journey is far from over. The abyss still holds secrets, deeper, brighter beyond his sight. But he no longer feels like a stranger. He feels like a thread in the ocean's vast tapestry, woven into its hymn. He lets the current carry him again, trusting the sea, surrendering not to fate, but to wonder and belonging. The water darkens once more, but this darkness feels gentle, not empty, like the closing of eyes in rest. Shapes drift in the distance, not menacing, but vast, moving with the grace of galaxies folding into the deep. Perhaps they are guardians, perhaps memories, or perhaps fragments of Poseidon's eternal thought, drifting like waves. The voyager watches, unafraid. He knows now that fear is not the abyss's gift, only awe, only depth without end. The sea hums faintly, its voice softer now, as if whispering him onward, deeper still, toward the final truths. He closes his eyes and listens, letting the abyss guide him. Its silence the language, its song the path, for the eternal sea is not conquered, not owned, but entered like a dream, where each soul finds its reflection. And so he drifts, onward into mystery, with the hymn of Poseidon carrying him, small yet eternal, into the deep. The voyager drifts in silence, and the abyss stretches around him like eternity woven from water and memory. He feels no need to move. The current itself carries him, gentle as a cradle, steady as the heartbeat of the sea. The journey has been long, yet it feels timeless, as though the abyss erased days and replaced them with truth. He remembers the glowing gates, the pillars of crystal, the hymn of voices woven into the eternal tide of Poseidon. Each vision was not given, but awakened, pulled from within him, as if the sea was reminding him of who he was. The abyss whispers softly now, not in words, but in presence, vast and kind, folding him into its infinite embrace. He closes his eyes. He feels the deep calm, as though every wave has merged into stillness, every storm into peace. The voyager sees the sea not as water, but as life itself, a circle without end, carrying all things within its tide. He realizes that Poseidon is not a figure of wrath, nor a throne, nor a crown, but the spirit of balance itself. The abyss is not dark. It is whole. It is the silence where all voices join, the depth where all stories remain. He thinks of those who came before, the dreamers, the seekers, the wanderers who left their echoes in the deep. They are not gone. They are part of the hymn, their voices carried forever by the waters, endless as the night sky. And he knows he will join them, not in sorrow, but in belonging, as a note woven into the song of eternity. The voyager whispers one final time, not a question, not a plea, but a word of gratitude to the endless sea. The water glows faintly as if answering, a shimmer passing across the abyss like the smile of Poseidon himself. The current begins to rise. His vessel lifts slowly, guided upward, as though the sea has chosen to return him. He does not resist. He lets go, trusting the water, carrying within him the gift of silence, song, and belonging. The surface draws near. Light filters down, golden and soft, like dawn breaking through the endless curtain of blue. He breathes deeply, And with each breath, the abyss lingers in him, eternal and unbroken, woven into his soul. The ocean does not keep him, yet it never releases him. For once touched by the eternal sea, one is never apart. The voyager opens his eyes to the horizon, wide and endless. Yet he knows now the greater vast lies within. Every wave is a word, every tide a story, every silence a song. He carries them all as his own truth. The world above may forget, but the abyss remembers, and in remembering, he keeps all things whole and eternal. The voyager smiles faintly, the sound of the hymn still in his heart, the rhythm of the sea steady in his breath. He knows the journey does not end. It transforms, for the sea is eternal, and so is the wonder it awakens. The horizon shimmers before him, wide and waiting, and he sails onward, small but eternal, guided by Poseidon's sea.